Okay guys, we're out here getting the bag because you guys like how-to videos. So I'm gonna teach y'all how to warm up today. It's probably the biggest flaw I see. Fitness, CrossFit, high rocks, whatever sport you do that entails a gym, I see people go wrong on how they warm up. So I'm gonna show you what I do. Might not be the perfect thing, but it's got me to the top of a few podiums. So take it or leave it. Here's how I warm up. Let's get to it. I've been doing a lot of go WODs for my active mobility. First part of my warm up is I do a 10 to 15 minute mobility session, and it's active, meaning you're moving through ranges of motion. You're not staying still. You're moving through deep ROMs. Whatever you're doing, upper or lower, I plug in the movements that I'm doing. Guys, I'm not sponsored by Go WOD, but I love how it makes it easy for me to just figure out what specific movements I need to be doing. So this takes me about 10 to 15 minutes. Some people have their own stretching routines. Just make sure you're moving through it and not just staying still and touching your toes for 2 minutes straight, you know? So keep it simple. So today I'm doing a ton of pressing. So we're gonna type in that, and we're doing a ton of pulling, and we're doing some handstand walking. Usually I also do a lot of active release, which I'll show you guys with my Thrival board. And it's something that helps get all the knots out, because stretching doesn't get the knots out, it just shortens and lengthens the muscle, more lengthening. So you get the elasticity before you go through big movements. So I'm gonna grab my board. It's definitely a time for static stretching, and that's night times. I think for me, going to bed, like flushing the soreness and getting more flexible, because there's a difference between flexibility and mobility. Flexibility is how far you can get. Mobility is how strong you are in the range of motion. So working on the flexibility part at nights is really good. Close enough, right, Johnny? I have a couple PTs in here that will make sure I'm giving you guys all the correct information. So they're holding me hostage. Johnny, if I say something wrong, you can interrupt me. You're welcome to.
You were close enough.
Okay, cool. Hey. Score one for the boys. Anyways, yeah, night times for the static, I'll do a 22-minute routine usually. And no, you don't have to use Go WOD, it just helps me keep on a flow. Yeah, I love this Thrival board because it really gets deep and hits really good points of tension in all 5 points that I need. Ankle, knee, hip, back, shoulders. Gets them all nice and relaxed. So y'all, I can't tell you how many times I have seen an athlete or a CrossFitter walk into the gym and just start doing the Metcon or doing the lift without even stretching or activating or doing any sort of warm-up sets even with the workout ahead. So you see people being able to do that for a short amount of time, and it eventually wears on them and burns them out, and you know, it's just not sustainable. I used to be one of those guys too when I started CrossFit, and it led me to a demise of knee problems and shoulder problems and overtraining. The more I warm up, the more I can train. That's how I like to think of it. We mobilized, that's all done. Now we're gonna heat up on a machine. Usually if I have an upper body day, I'll do bike or ski erg. If I have a lower body day, I'll do row or bike. But however you heat up, I usually just go 3 minutes pretty hard and 2 minutes easier. So then I kind of spike my heart rate and calm down from it. And then not only am I ready to breathe heavy, but my body temperature is raised and elevated, meaning that I'm more ready to go. So get that heart rate high, get that body warm. Machine of choice, 5 minutes, usually what I do. You can go longer. Sometimes I'll go 3 minutes if I'm really rushed, but I won't go shorter than 3. 5 is kind of the ideal limit for me. Based on how this feels, that's kind of how I can tell where my energy's at too. So if I'm able to hold like an easy 70 to 72 RPM, I know my body's a little more fresh, a little more recovered. If I'm not, it's kind of a telltale sign of how I'm feeling and maybe the direction I might use to modify or scale things if needed. Because even pro athletes scale things down some days, guys. Just did a 5 minute heat up. You can hear I'm breathing a little heavy. I'm breaking a little sweat, even though it's nice and AC'd here in launch mode CrossFit. Now we're gonna do the most important part the bulletproofing is what we call this. You know, 5 different places that are heavily put into strain for a CrossFitter: ankles, knees, hips, back, shoulders. Doesn't mean your wrists aren't doing a lot, or your elbows. These are just places that I think are most specific to priming daily and protecting with prehab. Okay, so for the ankles, we're gonna do some evert and inversion walks, also some walks on the heels and the toes. So just kind of get that calf all activated. All of this stuff is mostly activation, by the way. So this could say activation above it. So here's 3 things I like to do for my ankles. Gonna start with the eversion walk. Gonna go this way. Then I'll go inversion, trying to walk on that inner part of the foot, that arch. Then I'll go on the toes. Then I'll go on the heels. Next, I find an elevated surface and I do eccentric ankle dorsiflexions. You can do these single leg or dual leg. I'm gonna do them both legs here. So you go up, and then you go down as far as you can, really get that stretch, keep the legs extended. And like I said, you can also do the single leg, which I'll demonstrate here. You go up, just get a big deep stretch at the end, assist yourself up. Big deep stretch at the end. You can do this pull assisted, it's not for balance, guys. This is all for getting good range of motion back in the ankle before you do anything that involves the ankle. Third thing I like to do, pogo jumps. Find a line, you can do these dual leg or single leg. Go lateral here. Stay on that ball of the foot and just find a line, go over it. You can do that single leg as so. And then last one is a band restriction mobilization. It's one of my favorite ones for the ankle. One of my favorite ones to do is just a simple split squat, but have that thing pull back on your ankle. So you're doing a banded joint mobilization here, and just kind of go into a deep split squat, pushing into that deep range of motion on the ankle. Make sure you're driving through the heel still and not letting that heel come up off the floor. And make sure that band's also tight enough behind you so it's actually pulling on the joint. Okay, for the knees, moving on. We're gonna do 3 different drills. The knees are definitely my biggest enemy in the gym and have been. So I've had to get really creative with the way I warm up my knees, do a lot of knees over toes, a lot of different quad activations, and also getting your hips firing, which we'll talk about next. We'll take pressure off the knees. So we're gonna do quad extensions first. I like to do these for higher rep, lighter weight, with a little slower eccentric. Can also do them single leg, just like most drills. Just make sure to keep that eccentric slow, trying to get that VMO to take over, pull that knee in the right direction. VMO is your vastus medialis oblique in your quad. Quad's made up of 4 muscles, quad, boom, boom. Medialis lateralis, you got your rectus femoris and your sartorius. Boom, anatomy, nerd. If you don't have a quad extension machine, put a kettlebell on your foot, put a foam roller under your knee, do them on a bench or elevated surface. You don't need a really expensive quad extension machine to do quad extensions. We're gonna do split squat pulses. I like to do these pulsing or an isometric where you just hold, but I like to pulse a little more, work through the range of motion. You can get that knee over toe more, or you can put more focus in the glute, but just get blood flow to that knee joint. Okay, this next one's the Spanish squat. I got towels behind my knees so it doesn't tear hamstring hair. Call me a sissy, whatever, I'm just warming up. Anyways, you can go through these at a tempo and squeeze at the end, or you can sit at the bottom here and just sit like you're sitting back in a chair. So try and get parallel shin, light the quads up. There's a ton more drills I could show you. I'll show you one more. It's called a sissy squat. Sissy squat. With the sissy squat, what you want to do, you can hold on to poles or you don't have to. If you got really strong knees and good balance, you're basically going to lean back, and touch your knees to the floor or an elevated surface if you're beginning. Get that knee really over toe. Feel a good stretch in the quad there. This is what I'm talking about with the knees over toes stuff. If you know, you know. Definitely helps that tendon be more resilient. Next thing, we're on to the hips. All I do for my hips is I grab a hip halo band and I do a couple different activations, which I will show you. You don't need a hip halo band, you just need a hip band. It can be any brand, it doesn't matter. Some brands call them a hip igniter. Crossover calls them a hip halo. So get one of these for your gym bag, super helpful. And first one we're gonna do is a monster walk. You're gonna be in like a 1/5 squat, not even a quarter squat, it doesn't have to be that deep. Here you go, each direction. Okay, next one. Keep the band on. You can go around the knees, you can go forward. And you go backwards. Desired rep scheme for each of these drills, by the way, guys, is till you feel like a 6 or 7 out of 10 kind of activation. You don't want it to be super easy, but you also don't want it to exhaust you. For me, I do somewhere between 30 to 40 seconds of each drill, and if it's single leg, 30 to 40 seconds each side, basically. Next one, clamshells. Keep that over the knees. Push those hips forward. You're gonna raise, come down. Raise, come down. You might need a lighter tension band for this one, or if it's really hard, go no band at all. Perfect. And then can stay over the knees again. We're gonna go a hip bridge, single leg. I like to hold a little isometric at the top for a sec. For the back, usually in CrossFit, when we're lifting, stays in extension. When we're doing gymnastics, we can get into that flexion and use a lot of hollow, open, close. So I like to prime with McGill Big 3, which is a series on YouTube that, I don't know who McGill is, but it works for me, so I'm gonna take you through it. This is what I do for the back. First thing I do is some side planks. Make sure the hips are high. You're working the transverse core here, which indirectly helps stabilize the back muscles. Press, put your hand onto your low back, lay on it, and then press and hold into it for 10 seconds. It may look easy, but you're really firing your core. Do both hands. That upper back should be off the floor when you're pressing in. Really activate center. I'd say core and grip are two things we use the most of in CrossFit. Like in different ways in every session. So I really like to protect those things. Okay, and then the last one with McGill is a bird dog. You can go for reps, and then you can hold isometric at the end of your final rep. Just make sure you're keeping that core tight and you're pushing through the glute. And if you're arching in your back too much, that means you're doing it wrong. So keeping that core connected and pushing through the glute. Okay, so for the final piece of priming and rehab, prehab, I like the crossover symmetry bands for all things shoulders, scaps, delts, total upper body health here with this thing. Again, not sponsored by them, just showing you tools that work, guys. First one I'm gonna do, crossover row. For each of these, I like to hit 8 to 10 reps per side, or if I'm doing both arms at the same time, it's 10 reps total. With the crossover symmetry, it's not necessarily about the quantity of reps, it's about the quality of reps. Pinching your scaps back, retracting, depressing, because that's a better shoulder position than being forward and hunched. This will help with your posture, this will help you with your pressing, your pulling. Today's a huge upper body day, so I put some good emphasis into this. So I hit about 10 different positions with the crossover bands. Since I've been doing it for a while, I can work on the heaviest options. But there's beginner bands and intermediate bands and heavy bands and tons of different positions that you guys can look up on their site. Yeah. see any of these drills that you're like, ooh, that one looks like it's good, do that drill. But I like doing all of them. Johnny's laughing at that. I'm just not naming all the drills I'm doing because complete transparency, I don't even know the names of half of these. I've just been doing it for so long and it's so part of my routine that I memorize what I do. I should memorize the names though. So a lot of this with the crossover sim is internal, external rotation as well, because that's what our shoulder's doing. It's moving through external, internal a lot in CrossFit. So not just CrossFit, but in the gym, weightlifting. So this thing definitely helps you prime that. Okay guys, so we just finished part C. We did a ton of different drills to activate ankles, knees, hips, back, shoulders. I just showed you some of my favorites. Obviously there's a million different things out there to work these 5 different points of the body. And honestly, yeah, I'm pretty warm now. I'm breathing heavy. My lower body feels good. My upper body feels good. I do this in all these drills, no matter if I have lower or upper. But then when I come to priming specific movement, it's really just dependent on what I'm about to do. So I'm about to do a bunch of upper body. So I'll do some more primers for my upper, AKA I'm about to do some pressing and some handstand walks, some freestanding handstand push-ups. So I'll probably warm up those movements and prime them before I do the workout itself. Now, the priming can look different depending on what you have on your programming. I really just kind of do a couple of each movement and progress into the skill of it or the load of the weight if we're doing weight. And that's what I call priming. So yeah, this is the bulk of it. Once you prime, AKA today when I do a little bit of skiing, couple light presses and some little active range of motion with the barbell and some handstand drills, I'll be primed and ready to go for my workout, which is gonna start with some freestanding handstand push-ups, ski erg, pressing, you name it. Anyways, this was a very basic how to warm up, but I hope that this helped you guys understand that this is one of the most important parts of your session, if not the most important part. If you only have time to do one thing, it's either gotta be warming up and doing all this, or it's gotta be a low impact workout, because if you're going high impact, you wanna warm up right, you wanna do it right. Doesn't mean it needs to be an hour long, but it does mean you should put intention into this stuff and give it some thought at least, if you have a good routine with the gym. So if you learned something from this video, or this helped you be healthier, have better, more efficient sessions, and helped you crush a workout or two, that's all I wanted from this, help you guys out, as always. Like and subscribe for more. Thanks for coming along. I am James, and I like CrossFit.